What's Greeley, Colorado all about? Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. That's exactly what this video is about. Let's get started. All right, Christy Lee here, and I am a local real estate agent in the state of Colorado, but more importantly, I am a native of Colorado. I absolutely love this state, and I love helping you move to this state, or at least get more information about different areas within the state to look into, to invest in, whatever. So if that's something that interests you, please click that subscribe button right there. That way you are notified every time I have a new video. And please, if you do like this video itself, remember to click that thumbs up button for me, because it really helps out helping people find my content to help them as well. Okay, so Greeley, Colorado. Greeley, Colorado is very unique in a way because there's a lot of mixed reviews on Greeley, especially if you are a native of Colorado and you've had Greeley kind of in your backyard forever. So depending on who you ask, you're gonna get probably something different. So this video is gonna go over the top 5 pros and top 5 cons of living in Greeley. And I'm actually gonna start with the cons because I think that's probably what most people are concerned about. What is kind of crappy about Greeley? And number 1 is gonna be flat out, it stinks. Like physically, like it smells. It just stinks. It smells like cattle and horses, and it just stinks. My husband would say it smells like money, but I don't agree. I think it just flat out stinks. And what sucks about Greeley as well is even if you're not living in Greeley, if you're living anywhere south of Greeley and we start to have weather coming in, whether that be rain or snow, any sort of change in weather, doesn't matter how far away from Greeley you live, we'll start to smell that cattle smell. And right then we'll know, all right, we're gonna have a change in weather because we start smelling the cows. So do I think, I mean, that's my pro, or my con, excuse me. I just think it just stinks. Every time I go up there, that's all I think about when I go up there. Number 2 con is that, you know, there's not a lot to do in Greeley. Now, I will get into a lot of the pros in just a second because it is growing rapidly, but it's still, as it stands right now, it's a small town, right? So it's a small town just northeast of Denver. And there's just not a whole lot to do there. So if you're somebody who lives there and are looking for like, you know, a huge immense of like a nightlife or things like that, you're just not gonna really find it in Greeley. Don't get me wrong, you know, they are growing. So you're gonna have now, you know, you're gonna have a lot of breweries that are going up out there. I believe there's a few distilleries out there as well. So if that's your thing. I know they're like little downtown main area. There's really cute restaurants, local restaurants. Cute boutiques, things like that are all going to be kind of right around that downtown area. And then Greeley Frontier Days is one of their major attractions that comes out every single year. And that's when a bunch of concerts and like the rodeo and all that stuff happens. And it's like a big deal. It really is. But that's really kind of like all Greeley has. So there's just not a lot of things. You probably will have to go out, to maybe Fort Collins or Loveland to find something a little bit more to do if that's what you're looking for. Con number 3 is going to be, it's a very conservative area. So that could be a pro or con depending on what your standpoint is, of course, on it. But Weld County as a whole tends to be a little bit more conservative. And then especially once you start getting up to Greeley area, it's a lot more conservative. So just to kind of give you an idea of what I mean by that, you know, with the whole COVID pandemic going on over the last couple of years, Weld County specifically, and then definitely up towards the Greeley area, you know, they kind of went on their own thing. Like they didn't really listen to a whole lot of what was going on within the whole state of Colorado. They were just mainly saying this is kind of what we're going to do. So they weren't enforcing masks. They weren't, you know, those kind of things. So it's just definitely more of a conservative state or area. Now, again, that may be a pro or con depending on how you look at it and what your viewpoints are on that. I just want to mention it. So it's not really a con, or it is what it is. They're very conservative out there. Number 4 con is that you're pretty far from the mountains. So you're going to be about 53, 54 miles away from Rocky Mountain National Park out in Estes Park. So, I mean, you're a good hour away from that, which is not too bad. But if you're somebody who likes to ski or snowboard or anything like that, and you want to get into like the major resorts, not like Eldora is more towards Boulder, but even still, that's going to take you a little bit more time to get there than Rocky Mountain National Park. But if you want to go to like Breckenridge or Winter Park or Copper Mountain, anything like that, that's going to be up I-70 in the west up I-70, it's going to take you probably 2.5 to 3 hours, definitely depending on traffic and time of year. So it's not going to be just like probably I'm going to head up to the mountains and go skiing and come home that day. You probably have to, think about it, have it a long weekend kind of thing, because you're going to be stuck in traffic a lot of that time. And then already it's going to be about 2 hours anyways to get up there. You add the traffic on, it's a good 3 hours, if not longer, depending if there's accidents of snow or, there's just a crap ton that could happen on I-70, and it always does up there. So it's just not convenient if you're somebody who likes to head up to the mountains quite a bit. And my 5th con is going to be, it's pretty flat. So we are, it's northeast. So the east part of Colorado is very, very flat and kind of like bleh. You will have the mountains on the west, so you will see them in the distance, but it's not like they're right there, like I just mentioned. They're going to be in the distance, but everything else on the eastern side of Colorado, especially where Greeley is, it's just kind of like bleh. You do have a lot of mature trees that are going to be in the area because, it's been around for like ever. So you will have the mature trees and you will have that, but just everything about it is kind of just flat. There's definitely rivers out there you could go fishing at, and there's a lot of hiking trails or walking trails, but it's just not pretty. It's not that pretty of an area. But it is what it is. That's Greeley. So now we're going to get into the cons, because I think the cons are probably, there's some amazing cons. So that's why I really just want to get into it. And the first one is it's growing. Like, number 1, the growth of Greeley is insane. And that's why I actually am kind of now flipping my viewpoint on Greeley after 41 years of living here. Flipping my viewpoint on Greeley because it is growing so fast. So get this. It is the fastest metropolitan city in Colorado, fastest growth in Colorado, okay? And then Greeley is ranked number 4 fastest cities in the country as a whole. So that is huge. So what does that mean? That means that people are going there. They're actively going there. And the main reason why is because a lot of people in Denver and the Denver metro area are getting priced out. We just can't afford it anymore. So we're trying to find other areas on where to go. And a lot of people are heading north, and especially northeast towards Greeley. And the numbers reflect it. So it is growing like crazy. So that is something I think is a positive, because that just means probably, 1, you're going to have more stores, more restaurants, but you're going to be making more in real estate. So that leads me to my number 2 pro of Greeley. So the median house price in Greeley in 2021 was mid $400,000, so about $450,000. That is significantly different than Denver. Denver was mid 700s, okay? So that is a huge, huge difference. Now, if you go over to Fort Collins, and Fort Collins is just about 35 miles away, something like that, west of Greeley. Fort Collins is going to be median price is right around $550. All right, so we're talking about what, a half hour, 40 minutes difference between Fort Collins and Greeley, and about $100,000 difference in house price. So people are gravitating towards Greeley, still probably working in Fort Collins or Lovin, and actually a lot of people are still even working in Denver. It's only an hour away. and getting a lot more for their money. So another reason I like this as much as a real estate side of it, and or even an investor side of it, is if you could get in and buy a house for $450,000 and hang on to it, you are going to be making a shit ton of money in the future, because just people are just naturally going that way. So you are going to be making a lot more for your money. So even if you physically don't want to move to Greeley, I would highly look into investing in Greeley, just because you will 100% make money out there. All right, so I already kind of mentioned this, but I want to do it as another pro. So my pro number 3 is going to be location. So yeah, it is going to be northeast, but so we're looking at about 55 miles from Denver, about 35 miles to Fort Collins, and about, what did I say, 53 miles to Rocky Mountain National Park. So you're about what? An hour away from Denver, 35 minutes to Fort Collins. You're only about less than an hour. I think it's about 40 minutes to Cheyenne, Wyoming. So the location, while it is so far northeast, it's still pretty good, especially if you want more for your money. So, bigger house, less expensive house, but still work in Denver and only commute an hour. I mean, a lot of people are doing that anyways. A lot of people are actually living in Denver and working in Denver and still making that commute just because the traffic sucks down there. I mean, you're bumper traffic just sitting in the heart of Denver. So why not consider something north and get a better house? I mean, either way, you're doing some shield time, right? Windshield time. So maybe that might be a great option too. Number 4 pro is that it is actually a college town. So I'm not sure if a lot of people know that, but the University of Northern Colorado is located in Greeley. And actually that college is well known for their teaching program. So I've had a lot of friends actually go up there to become teachers, and that's where they went. So you do have a lot of the college students, but you don't hear nearly as much about UNC as you maybe do, CSU in Fort Collins, or even CU in Boulder, as being like crazy party towns and this and that. You don't ever really hear that about Greeley. So I do find that to be a pro, is because you could still live in Greeley, but maybe not have that college, you're crazy surrounded by all these 20-year-olds just taking over the city. It doesn't really feel that way when you're up there at all. Now, one thing I will say as well is, kind of piggybacking on that a little bit, is that the median age in Greeley is right around 29 to 31. So 30, let's just say 30. So it's a very young demographic out there. So that just means there's, a lot more younger families, maybe young professionals. It is a very much agricultural town. So maybe you have a job or getting a job in agriculture, like I said, teaching, things like that. It might be a great place to start a family, raise a family, because it is so much less expensive to live there. And then, just kind of all grow up together, which also leads me into my 5th pro about Greeley, is that it is still a small town. It's a small town feel. While it is growing, 100% growing and growing rapidly, it is still a small town. So if you're starting off and you're late to mid 20s and 30s, and you're starting there, there's a good chance, your friends or family or whatever, you're going to all be growing up at the same time within this great city and watching the growth and building your wealth within your house. So it's just it's really cool, because you kind of dictate how it's going to go out and how you want your city to look, and how you want it to feel. While like I said, there is a small town, it does have like small festivals every first Monday of the month. They're going to have their art walk, which they're really excited about out there too. I've already mentioned Greeley Stampede. So, these are all great festivals and, events that bring the whole community together, because it is still so small, and they still want to keep it that small town feel. Most likely, if you go to a store, you're probably going to run into somebody you already know, just because that's just how it is. It's not like going down to Denver and having a crap ton of people everywhere, and you probably never see anybody you know that whole week. Greeley is completely different. So those are my list for Greeley. Would I still personally live there? I don't know, but I will and am actively considering investing out there, just because I think that the opportunities out there are significant. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. I am the one that answers those text messages and phone calls and emails. I would love to hear from you. Tap or write a comment down there if you have any questions, or maybe what do you think of Greeley? Let me know. I'd love to hear. Reach out to me anytime. Until the next video, take care.